Modi here from CNBC. Public sporting, professional fighting has garnered a lot of attention, not just from fans, but from investors as well. We're looking at WWE, Worldwide Wrestling, obviously up about 35% year to date. Do you have any plans to take UFC public? Is an IPO on the cards?
No. You know, I think a lot of companies that go public, you know, need capital to expand or build. You know, I mean, normally companies would go, if you take a casino, or they're going to add a new wing or add more hotel rooms or things like that. We don't need it. We don't need the capital, so I just don't see us doing it.
And a follow-up there, the violent nature of the type of fighting seen during UFC matches has drawn a lot of critics from authorities around the world. Are there methods being put into place to ensure safety is a priority? Would love to hear from you as well as the players as well.
Yes, ma'am. In the 20-year history of the UFC, even back in the crazy days, there have never been a death or serious injury. Cheerleading can't say that. So the answer is yes. So obviously, before we go into a fight, these guys get fully medical, you know, full medicals. We know we have 2 healthy athletes that are going in there to compete. You have the proper medical staff there, and the proper medical staff after the event, and we've never had a problem with any of our athletes in over 20 years.
Does Jose have anything to say?
The health and safety of providers.
Acho que não tem problema nenhum, não. Acho que eu nunca passei por nenhum problema, não. Bem tranquilo, acho que o UFC é muito profissional, cuida muito bem dos atletas, então não vejo perigo nenhum, não vejo problema nenhum com nada.
The UFC takes very good care of its athletes, so I never see any problem with that.
What's that?
In my whole career, I've never even been hit once. So, I've never stepped foot inside the octagon and stepped outside of it with a mark on my face. And you can look back at my whole career, even in the earlier part of my career, where in the learning stage, where I tasted defeat, 2 defeats, I was never actually touched. So it's pretty safe for me. If anything, I'd be more worried about the guy across from me than myself. So for me, it's a safe game.
Question to comment. You know, the Brimage fight, Holloway, Siva, every time you seem to come in, you know, exactly the same way, relaxed, control. You know, for you, how is it that you're able to do that when, you know, you'll come into bigger fights, and now you're having a world title fight against Jose Aldo, yet you seem to take them all exactly the same way?
I don't know, I've just become comfortable in the uncomfortable. This game is about finding comfort in uncomfortable situations. That's what it's about. That's the reason I got into combat sport, because of situations that would occur where I felt uncomfortable and I would seek comfort in them. So I would show up at the gym and try and get a little bit more better, a little bit more self-defense aware, to find comfort in uncomfortable situations. Then I eventually start competing to put myself in even more uncomfortable situations. So my whole career has been about finding comfort in the uncomfortable. I didn't get in it to win world titles, I didn't get in it for anything. I just wanted to find comfort in uncomfortable situations and be able to handle any situation. So now when I am in a situation where the average man would crumble, I excel.
And it's actually a great question. One of the things that really blew me away was how he handled the pressure of the first time in Boston, the pressure of first time in Dublin, you know, in your hometown. Yeah, I'm very blown away by how he handles pressure.
Just want to extend another one, Dana. You know, UFC in its history, this is globally the biggest ever event that you guys are putting together. You know, do you feel that, you know, that capacity has always been there, and it's just been waiting for the, you know, the pieces to fall together with Jose and Conor, who've promoted tremendously?
Yeah, and I think that there's always a, you know, when you talk about countries being involved, for instance, like in Brazil right now, I mean, the UFC is huge. We go on The Ultimate Fighter, our reality show, airs at midnight, 1 in the morning there, 13 million viewers. when we do big fights on the air, there's 200 million people in the country. 60 million people watch the fights. Then you talk about Ireland that went nuts with the whole Conor McGregor craze, right? The UK we've been working on for a long time. Then you talk about Roy McDonald. GSP's absence, now there's another Canadian fighting for that welterweight title. You know, then you got the United States, Australia, which is big, the Philippines and other parts of Asia. So realistically, this fight here, the world will be watching this fight.
And lastly, now one for Jose Aldo. You know, Jose, in every single fight, you've presented yourself in a mild-mannered, respectable kind of way. You know, now with Conor, you both kind of, you know, talking the talk, walking the walk, especially on the world tour, seeming to get under each other's skin. You know, why is it that this time Conor McGregor is the guy that is really, you know, been the only guy so far today that's actually been able to rile you up?
Então, não é questão de estar irritado. Acho que isso aqui não passa numa próxima conferência onde que todo mundo vai procurar fazer muitas coisas para procurar vender essa luta. Não vejo aceitação. Acho que isso você tem que ver quando eu estou lá dentro. Se eu estiver lutando, você vai ver minha cara. Vai estar normal, como sempre, fazendo tudo o que eu sei fazer. Então não é questão de estar irritado. Isso faz parte. Isso aqui é um negócio também. Não é só uma luta. Acho que não tem, da minha parte, não vejo irritação nenhuma. Estou bem tranquilo. Estou viajando no mundo, conhecendo pessoas novas. Só não estou comendo bem, nem dormindo. Mas o resto, estou bem tranquilo. Bem confortável, tranquilo.
I'm actually having a great time. I'm traveling around. I'm meeting a lot of people. The only thing is that I'm not eating well or sleeping well, but everything else I'm enjoying pretty much. Yeah, meeting new people and meeting a lot of beautiful people.
Seamus from CNBC. You've done.
Então, não vejo irritação. Acho que é o lado dele. Ele trabalha dessa maneira. Cada um tem um jeito de trabalhar. Para mim, não vejo problema nenhum.
To me, that's how he works. That's the way he does. It's a business. So this is the way he wants to work. So I don't see any. I'm not bothered by it.
Ele pode falar o que for, fazer o que for. Para mim não muda nada.
He can talk whatever he wants. He can do anything. It doesn't change anything for me.
O importante para mim é continuar sendo campeão.
To me, the most important thing is to be the champion.
Seamus from CNBC. You've done extremely well with the UFC, managed to dominate the MMA market now, but that domination has recently caused a couple of issues. I know you can't talk specifics on any legal action, but just give us an outlook for the year. Are you confident that the UFC will come out through those cases in particular, and will it impinge on any profits going forward for the year?
What's the question?
The lawsuit questions.
Yeah.
There's obviously a couple of lawsuits on your domination, your antitrust lawsuits.
But what's the question?
Are you confident that the UFC will come out with the cases on the right side?
I mean, you can never be confident when you go into court. Anything can happen. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes.
I've got a couple of questions for Conor. You're known for having quite a wide base when you're fighting. Is there anything about Aldo's kicking game give you pause for thought?
No, again, I feel there's many. I keep hearing about the low kick, but with the range, I have won fights checking kicks before. I've broken the foot and stopped my opponent. So I can check the southpaw orthodox stance definitely plays a factor. I feel the range will play a factor. He must. With my range, it will be foot to knee, so that will spell trouble for him. So his best option for the kick is to try and close the distance with it, but close the distance with me and then you're in the pocket. If you're in the pocket with me and I touch you, it's done. So there's many factors and it's an interesting one for the fans, but for me, it is nothing. It is easy for me.
I have one follow-up question. Lots of traditional martial arts are becoming more and more prominent in the UFC. Do you see any? What's the next kind of move you see kind of coming back? The next sort of thing that you see fighters starting to really exploit?
I definitely feel the traditional principles are making their way back into the game, which is what they should be. Traditional. I think where traditional martial arts failed is that they did not have live sparring. They had their technique right, the kicks were snappy, the shots were fast, it was fluidity, it was about balance, it was about control, it was about